All right. Well, welcome again to those of you that were not here yet with us. So happy to be here and for our second session, Tech Girls Implementation and Support Session. So Dr. Singh is here with us and she's going to lead us through like a more in-depth review of Module 1 and 2. So we're excited for that. I had said also, just in case you weren't here, number one, it's being recorded. I'm guessing you've got a big notice that said that. So we'll be recording so that you can use this in the future as a reference or share with new staff or staff that weren't able to make it today. And then if you have a question, there will be time at the end to ask questions. There's also the question and answer box, which is just more helpful so that we can because it pops out rather than in the chat. And I'm Shannon Callahan, just in case I didn't say that, and I haven't changed my name yet, so I will do that on my Zoom picture. So my colleague Taylor Price is with me also, and we're back here for tech support. Dr. Singh will mostly be leading the session, but I think I have the next slide. Okay, so here we have it. So we're calling this You Asked, We Answered. So I feel like it's like a game show, but so I just wanted to sort of lift up some of the common questions that we got after the first session and in some of the survey responses. So a common question was like, what will this cost? Like, how can I access this in the future? And, do I need to budget for it moving forward? So this curriculum, access to the curriculum to Tech Girls is completely free. It's a benefit of membership. And so you have access, you can use it, you can, we're just excited to be able to lift this up and offer it to everybody across the network. So that's number one. And then number two, so what materials and tech do I need? I think those are things that will be asked and answered through this session, the next session, and then the sessions that we'll be having in the winter. I think everyone's going to need different things. And so the age group. So I think that was definitely like another common question. So this was designed and built to focus on 10, 11, and 12-year-olds. That was like sort of like the sweet spot. That was the research that we had gotten completed with Dr. Rende. And so it is adaptable though, as any curriculum. So that'll definitely be things that will be talked about, and we'll be leaning in and sharing ideas amongst each other. But the target group is 10, 11, and 12-year-olds. So some other feedback we got was like, I'm not a STEM expert. Like, how am I going to do this? And so Dr. Singh definitely lifted that up in the last session, but like that you are a guide. And so you're there to, help the girls build confidence and celebrate them. And that all the information and the activities are very well spelled out. So you feel confident that you're going to be able to do it. And Dr. Singh is here to support you through that. And then the other thing is like, who will help me? So what we're hoping and like the spirit of what this is that we're going to start peer learning groups in the winter. So there'll be like 3 options, I think, throughout the January through June for us all to come together and lean in with each other and learn from each other. So I think there's another slide on that and with the dates. So there'll be some like learning communities that'll be coming up. January 27th, March 31st, and May 25th. More information about all of that will be coming, opportunities to sign up and what will be covered at each of those sessions. And, but I think what we're really hoping is just to like lean on each other and do like really lean into like the peer learning model. And there will be an opportunity from our development and Marcom team to also talk about like how to secure additional dollars and how to go about marketing this program across your community. And I think that's it for the moment. And I'm going to pass it to Dr. Singh. If I missed anything, let me know.
I think we're good. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. For those of you who are back, I'm so happy to be with you I'm in Miami, Florida, a little south of Miami. So it's sunny and raining off and on here, but happy to be with you. And I want to just go through our plan for the hour that we're going to be together, or 45 minutes or so. And that's left of our time. Don't worry, we've planned it out, as you can see on the screen here. We have a nice agenda. So we just did some of your questions and I hope you got clarity on that. We're going to jump into a quick icebreaker. We're going to do a walkthrough of module 1. We're going to do a breakout related to what we talk about in module 1. Then we'll get into module 2. We're going to take a quick tour of what's in the resource hub in the facilitator space. And then we'll do some processing time, a reflection, and we'll get into Q&A and the survey. So that's our plan for today. All right, so for our warm up, quick and easy, right? We are going to kind of set the tone and set the vibe for our session today. So go ahead and in the chat, think of a woman in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and even medicine, someone you admire. It could be a famous person, it could be someone local, or even you never know. And I want you to think of the trait that you admire about this person. So in the chat, you're just going to format it like name plus the trait. So example, Dr. Mae Jemison, and I admire her curiosity. Or Dr. Sabrina Gonzalez Pastersky, and I admire her persistence. So something to get you thinking about women in STEM. I want you to just drop their names and their traits in the chat. We have 45 seconds. Go. And if you're stuck, it's okay. You could write your name and the word resilience because you showed up today. And that's a win. Oh, I see them coming through. Amelia Earhart, bravery. Dr. Faye Porter, tenacity, problem solving. Dr. Bartholomew, dedication. Ricky Smith, spunk, love, and encouragement. Okay, so we are seeing some names in there that I don't even know. So we may want to keep a little checklist here because these might be folks that we can tap into for our STEM sheroes, right? I see passion and I see determination. Love it, love it. Thank you all for sharing. Beautiful. I see involved, active, Rosa Parks, ability to fight for human rights. I love it. So I want to highlight those qualities and those traits because that's exactly the energy that we're bringing into our planning today. Love it, love it, love it. And we got some names, so we got to save this chat, Shannon. All right, so with that, we're going to go through module 1. And if you took a look at our training video series that we went over during the orientation, you got a introduction into the modules. And we did that in our last session as well. So module 1, the title of module 1 is STEM Builders. And this module is all about helping the girls name who they are, helping them to practice their voice ultimately, right? And they can begin to tell their STEM story. So part of this is thinking of stereotypes that exist around girls in STEM, like we don't belong, okay? And remixing them. And it's about mapping their strengths and building toward the capstone in this module, which is a TEDx style talk. So before we get deep into the lessons that are part of this module, I want you to look at the concrete outcomes that are going to be a part of module 1. So first, there's the identity piece where the girls, again, are naming their strengths and they're flipping these STEM stereotypes into the truth of themselves and why they belong in STEM. The second concrete outcome is a voice. They are using strategies and frameworks like sentence starters to start speaking up and practicing positive statements and truths about who they are. And the third one is storytelling because they're building toward this, STEM TEDx talk, which is a short narrative that has a foundation of how they're going to see themselves in the STEM world. So we're going to kind of zoom out next and see how all of the lessons and activities build toward these outcomes for module 1. All right, so what you're looking at are the 5 lessons that are a part of module 1. So lesson number 1 is called My STEM Superpowers. And that's where girls are identifying their personal strengths, they're remixing stereotypes, and they're beginning to see how who they are connects to the STEM world. In lesson number 2, this is growth mindset in action. So they're learning that mistakes are part of the process of just growth. And they're building tools like a STEM optimism toolbox and affirmation cards with strategies and mantras that they can go back to stay persistent and to stay determined and just to stay present. Lesson number 3, they're telling their STEM story. So this is kind of like a guided reflection of their past and where they are now and the future, because the goal is to create this narrative, this truth that celebrates their journey, their voice, and their curiosity. And lesson number 4, that's where we are looking at STEM heroes. So that's why our icebreaker was also tied to this and also important, because we got to see names that don't exist in the curriculum, but you can still tap into them. So for lesson number 4, in every module, all of lesson number 4 is centered on a STEM hero. And in module 1, that STEM hero is Dr. Mae Jemison. So they're studying Dr. Mae Jemison's journey and her values, her qualities. And they are connecting her story to their own. And they are doing a creative reflection that honors that connection and what they see in themselves. And for lesson number 5, that's the big capstone. That's where they are preparing and delivering their TEDx style STEM talk. So they're bringing all of the things together that they have done in lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's all preparing them to share their 5-minute TEDx talk that celebrates their journey and their goals in STEM. So now what I'm going to show you is that consistent rhythm that makes each lesson easy to run. And if you do have questions that come up as I'm going through the different parts, please feel free to drop those. Go ahead and drop those where they go. And I am happy to respond as I see them come up. Okay, so now we're looking at that flow. Every single lesson. So remember, every module has 5 lessons, and we just reviewed that 5-lesson structure. Now, within each module, there's also kind of like a rhythm. Okay, there's that movement that is going to help the girls build their confidence as they're going through the content, because this is all new to them too, just like it's new to you. So this rhythm is helping to keep confidence in everyone who's going to participate, because it has a consistent structure. But it's also going to make things simple and predictable for you, because you're getting a view of it, and you're going to be exposed to it throughout, even though the girls are going to see it for the first time. So I want to walk you through that flow, that rhythm, and I'm dancing because that's what I think of when I think of rhythm, and that's that consistent movement that's throughout the program. So every lesson starts with that idea of brainstorming and connecting prior knowledge through Spark and Sketch. And everything that we do in this program is not only research-based with Dr. Rende's findings, but it's also brain-based teaching. So we're talking about things that help learning to stick, okay? So we start by activating prior knowledge and sparking ideas. That's the Spark and Sketch. We then go into Explore and Discover, which investigate something new and meaningful, but there's also personal connection as they are exploring and discovering. That's brain-based science. Then they get to create and build something where they're designing and testing, and they're just making something hands-on, real, again, brain-based. And then they are reflecting and growing, where they're naming what they've learned and how they have progressed and see themselves progressing with the content. And then they get to celebrate, because we always forget to celebrate even the small things, and they get to do that in community. Okay, and so those are the 5 movements, the 5 rhythm, the 5 parts of that rhythm. I'm gonna have to give a name to this rhythm, because I keep dancing every time I say it. So we're gonna have to call it like the Tech Girls some kind of dance or something. All right, so now that we have reviewed this rhythm with a dance name that's to be announced, we're going to anchor why all this matters and how it leads to the capstone. So every single thing that the girls are building in these lessons and within these activities leads to the bigger picture, which is the capstone. So lessons 1 through 4, as they're creating, all of those artifacts flow into the capstone. So in module 1, lesson 1, they're creating this visual identity map. In lesson 2, they're creating this STEM optimism toolbox and the growth mindset affirmation card. In lesson 3, they're building this STEM storyboard. And in lesson 4, they're creating, it's a creative reflection that's inspired by Dr. Mae Jemison. And in lesson 5, they're doing this TEDx style talk in lesson 5. And so all of those things, every piece that you can see here supports the capstone. Each one, think of it is like a building block, and it's stacking and toward that TEDx style talk. So by the time they reach lesson 5, where they actually are doing the capstone, the story is telling itself because they've been building it since the very beginning. Okay, so once we get through to the capstone, we've completed the module. And of course, we do some reflections and celebrations and all of those things, but we've completed the module. And there's that community question piece. So I just want to remind you of that community question piece, because that comes at the end of the module. And this is where we are inviting the girls to post their responses to the community questions. It's just one per module. And the idea of this is for them to be able to share their learning and their story and their growth. And they're doing that on the national platform where they get to connect with other girls across the associations to build an even broader community. And so that is what module 1 ultimately looks like. So what I want to do is review the materials that you have access to so you can kind of experience what the girls are going to see, but also what you'll see and the tools that you have. So there are 3 key pieces here. We have the curriculum on Mighty Networks, which you guys have access to. So we have that curriculum on Mighty Networks. Okay, so when you get access to the curriculum, you can see here that you have all of the modules for the girls. You have the welcome, you have the modules, and then you have the resource hub, and then the community connect section, which is where those community questions are going to be, those 4 community questions for the 4 modules. And then as a facilitator, you have access to the Tech Girls Facilitator space with all of the other resources. So you have the Mighty Networks curriculum. Then you also have access to the girls' workbook. So the girls themselves have a workbook. All of this is digital, by the way. And then the facilitators will have a facilitator guide. So there's a student workbook for each module, and then there's a facilitator guide for each module as well. So we're going to open the workbook digitally to end the lesson guide, just so you could kind of see that 5-step flow that we just reviewed. You can see how the information is presented, and you can see that there are additional resources for you as a facilitator to support you as you are a guide for the girls. And you'll also see in there that there are considerations for age, those age bands, elementary, middle, and high school. And there's some recommendations for pacing, because you may not have, enough time, or you may need to extend, or you may need to skip. And you'll also see that there are reminders in case you need for how you can adjust if you have low tech, meaning each girl may not have like their own device. Okay. And so let's take a look at that kind of in a deeper lens. So what you're seeing on the screen here is the table of contents to the facilitator guide for module 1. And the reason I'm just showing this particular view is because I want you to see that rhythm. Okay, I want you to see how everything is broken down. So you're going to have a lesson overview. So remember, in each module, there are 5 lessons. So you're going to have a lesson overview. And you're going to have a deep dive into each lesson. So if you notice, there are the 5 activities: the spark and sketch, explore and discover, create and build, reflect and grow, and then there's that celebrate. So you have those 5 activities and how you can approach facilitating and guiding the girls in those. But there's also additional resources and additional tasks that help the girl to prepare. So there's a capstone connection. And what the capstone connection is, it just tells the girls, you did this for this lesson. This is how it's going to connect to the bigger picture. And then there's a check your learning and progress, so the girls can actually track their growth. I was able to do this, this, and this today. And then they get badges, the digital badges that are a part of the Mighty Networks that they earn once they've completed all of these steps within Mighty Networks. So all of this structure here aligns with Mighty Networks. It aligns with your view in your facilitator guide. And it also aligns with what the girls see in their workbooks. And this is the same flow. I'm really going to come up with a dance name for this. So they're going to see that same flow for lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5 in each module. So that's what the table of contents looks like. Okay, I'm going to pause here to see if there are any questions about this piece before we move to the next. I don't see anything yet. Okay. What you're seeing on the screen now is a breakdown of the lesson previews. So within each lesson, there's a preview of what the girls will experience and what you will see. Okay, thank you, Dr. Sarah. All right, so I'm showing you the preview because it's just an overview of the bigger picture. So on the left-hand side here, this is what you have in your facilitator guide. And on the right-hand side is what the girls have in their workbook. So you can see how they match, right? You can see there's, it's giving you what the module is about. It tells them what the module is about in their words. It tells you what they're building. And in that 5 steps flow, it gives you things to remember. And it gives you a reflection. It just helps you to be their guide. And it gives the girl an overview of what they're going to do by the end of the lesson. So here they're naming their strengths, they're completing their inventory, they're doing their identity map. So all of these align with their flow that you see here. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's that lesson. That's this lesson overview right here. Okay, so once we go into the lesson overview, we go into each lesson activity. So this one is the Spark and Sketch example. This one is the Spark and Sketch. So remember, on the left-hand side is what you have in your facilitator guide. And then in the right-hand side, this is what the girls see. So it gives you an objective and tells you what the girls are going to be able to accomplish. And then it gives you a script. Obviously, you don't have to memorize this, but we wanted to ensure that you had as much as you needed to be able to facilitate and focus on being their guide. So it gives you a nice welcome so that the girls understand what it is that they are doing for this particular activity in this lesson. And then it gives you steps on what you will be able to do to facilitate it. So these steps align with what the girls are doing in their workbooks, as well as what they're doing on Mighty Networks. Okay, so there are 4 steps for this facilitation. There are 4 steps for what the girls are doing. And then you may also have some facilitator tips to help you as you are guiding the girls throughout the different activities. So ultimately, this view here of the lesson view, you're gonna see that view for all of these in every lesson, in every module. You're gonna have that breakdown as well as the girls. Okay? All right, before I get into the next thing, any questions, any comments about this before I get into the next stuff? Because the next stuff, we're getting a little bit deeper into more of the recommendations and considerations and things to support you. All right, I think we're all good. I think we're all good. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is this is your community question. So remember, at the end of each module, there's a community question that they do in the forum, in the community connect section. And this is where all of the girls nationally are able to ultimately connect. So in the workbook, it tells the girls what their community question is, and there's space for them to plan it out, okay? In your facilitator guide, it gives you all of the steps on how you can help facilitate them as they're planning their community question. It gives you how you can set the stage and how you are able to help them reflect, and even some sample responses, and how you can get them to post and engage online in the Mighty Networks. So that is also part of the experience too. And then finally, what you're gonna see in your facilitator guide, this is not a part of the girls. This is only a part of your facilitator guide for each module that you have. You're gonna see adaptations for flexible facilitation. So ultimately what this means is the things that you were concerned with the most, right? The age band recommendations, and even pacing, and even that materials check, because this is a digital curriculum. For each lesson, there are some recommendations of how you can address some of those concerns. So if you're in elementary, it gives you some recommendations on what you can focus on. It gives you some recommendations on things that you can do to cut, to extend, or to simplify. And you have it for all 5 lessons. And because lesson number 5 is the capstone, that's everything leads up to that. You have a little bit more direction, or a little bit more specificity, not direction, a little bit more specificity here, because lesson 5 is the big deal. Okay. So there's that to guide you as well. Okay, so we have just taken, we've just done an overview of module 1 and what all module 1 entails. And if you have access to Mighty Networks right now, you can go to the facilitator space, and you will actually see, there's, let me see if I can show that to you before we launch the poll. I want to just be able to show that to you right now. 1 second, in case you need it. So let me do that. Okay, so on Mighty Networks right now, when you go to that Tech Girls Facilitator space, in the training videos category, the same place where you had those training video series, there's a section here that says module walkthroughs. And when you go to module 1, you're gonna see that there's a video, so you should be able to play the video, and then you're gonna be able to download that facilitator guide for module 1, and here's the video. So there's an actual, this video is actually a breakdown of the modules. I do a screen share where I walk you through Mighty Networks. And so again, additional support for you, so you can watch the video as well as download this facilitator guide here. So you can use that right now if you have access to the facilitator space, which everyone should. And we're going to launch the poll. And just so you know, this poll is going to lead to our breakout room activity. So go ahead and let us know which of these options best matches your site. Elementary, middle, high school, or maybe you have mixed age groups within your site. So we launched the poll. All right, let me see, those responses are coming through. All right. And let us know, Shannon or Taylor, when the poll is ready, like when it's all complete, and we can.
Sure. Do you want me to stop the poll? Did you say that? And I didn't hear you.
No, I just want, I know it might, so we have, okay, I see it, 56.
Yeah, it's getting
participated.
pretty good. I think we have over 50% participation.
Okay, so we have 56. Do we want to wait for a little bit more?
Yeah, anybody else want to jump in? We'd love to hear your answer. So we're getting more answers.
All right.
Yeah, I can go. I think we're good. I'll go ahead and end the poll.
Okay. All right. So what I want to show you as
And I think I'm sharing the results. Is that correct?
I don't know because I see it from a different view.
Okay. I think we all see, the three of us see it from a different view, but
Yeah.
hopefully you all can see it. If you can't, please unmute yourself and let us know. But I think
Yeah,
go ahead.
someone said in the chat they can see it.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, so just remember what you selected. Obviously, you know what your site is because that's going to be what leads to our breakout room discussion. So I want to just show this really quick to you. When you go into the breakout rooms, you're going to see a pad. I'm going to drop this in the chat. There's going to be a Padlet, and when you click the link, it's going to go to your site description, whether you chose elementary, middle, high school, or mixed. And I would like for you to, in this discussion, in this breakout room space, going to pick a module 1 lesson. You're going to name one age fit tweak. Maybe you're going to tweak it based on, the language or the grouping or the timing, whatever that looks like. And you're going to think about if there's a shiro you want to add, because remember that one focuses on Dr. Mae Jemison. So we had lots of names in the chat. And describe one hands-on move, one hands-on activity using materials that you already have. So if your girls have devices, if your girls don't, and you have like actual paper material, like what is something that you can do? And then you're going to choose a tech tool that maybe you can incorporate within it. So I just want you to have this discussion. And it's also going to allow you to select a lesson from module 1 to get more acquainted with that lesson. So I'm going to drop the link to the Padlet. And those of you who have not used Padlet, what you're going to do to add your responses for your breakout room based on your discussion is just, you're going to press this little plus sign at the bottom right. And when you click that plus sign, you just type a subject and start typing. And then you'll press publish up here at the top, and it will put your response on this page here so that we can see it. Okay. And so I'm going to drop that in the chat so that each of you can select your group. So elementary will go in one, Padlet, and so on. So we could go ahead and do the breakout rooms now. A little tech hiccup here, but yes, that comes with the territory with technology. The good news is, guess what? We always have, we're always flexible because that's just what we do as women. So thank you for your flexibility. And you do have access to the Padlet. So the Padlet is just separate from the breakout rooms. The Padlet is just a way for us to document our feedback and our comments and what our conversations are within the breakout rooms. And so that's what those links are in the chat also, so we could get ideas. So that's what those links were in the chat. But we were able to open up breakout rooms. Some of you may have gone, some of you may have hung out with us in the main room to hear what we were talking about as we were trying to figure things out. But that's totally okay. We are going to continue, and we are going to move through so that we could take a look at module 2, and then we can close out and honor your time. All right, all good. Thumbs up, good to go. All right, wonderful. So let's do, all right, so we are there. And I want to make sure we are here. Yep. Okay. All right, so welcome back. We're going to step into module 2. And so module 2 is called STEM Change Makers. That's the focus of module 2, STEM Change Makers. And this is where they're actually going to, the girls are going to spot problems and come up with solutions and explore smart tech and all of those good things. So let's just break this down really quick for you, and we're gonna be able to close out our session. So in module 2, the tangible outcomes is problem spotting, where the girls are going to identify real world challenges. They are going to do people first prototyping. So they're going to get to explore design thinking and smart tech. And no, you don't have to even know what those things are, because the facilitator guides you through all of those things, as well as it guides the girls through it in the way the modules are set up in Mighty Networks, as well as their workbooks. And then their capstone is a Shark Tank style pitch, where they're going to pitch for impact. Ultimately, right? They're communicating their problem clearly and their solution clearly. So let's take a look really quick at what the lessons are in module number 2. So change makers, because they are becoming STEM detectives, they're spotting problems. They're going to identify challenges in their schools, communities, or just the world that affects them, that they care about. And they're mapping these problems. They're going to also connect it to STEM fields. Then in lesson number 2, they're prototyping for the people, and they are going to explore what design thinking is and learn how empathy drives innovation. And they're also going to experience a framework called Scamper. All of those things are in the modules for you. In lesson number 3, they get to explore the power of smart tech. So AI, VR, coding, robotics, all of those things, where they get to experiment with tools and understand what those tools do. In lesson number 4, they meet a young Shiro, Gitanjali Ryo, and she's a young inventor and a scientist. So they get to meet her and learn about her innovation and her social impact and connect it to themselves. And in lesson number 5, that's their Changemaker Challenge, Shark Tank style pitch, that they are going to bring all of the artifacts together to pitch their solution, their bold solution. So now that you understand what the lessons are about, we still follow that same rhythm, that same flow, that same dance that I've been doing. So they're going to spark and sketch, they're going to explore and discover, create and build, reflect and grow, celebrate and shine in each of those 5 lessons, because all of those things are building blocks, and they get to the capstone and they help them create these artifacts. So in lesson number 1, they're doing a problem map, and in lesson number 2, they're doing a prototype plan that's people first. In lesson number 3, they're upgrading that prototype with smart tech, and in lesson number 4, they have a creative reflection, and lesson number 5 is their pitch. So every piece is supporting their growth toward communicating their problem and their human-centered solution clearly. And of course, there is that community question at the end of module 5. And again, we want to invite the girls here to post on Mighty Networks after module 2, because all of this is going to help build their visibility and their voice. And of course, you know, their belonging in STEM. So
TV, there's a column part 1, TV part 1.
We also have, again, the resources there for you for module 2, just like in module 1. You have the Tech Girls on Mighty Networks, you have your student workbook, and you have your student workbook, and you also have your facilitator guide. So everything that I shared with you earlier on about module 1, you're going to see the exact same thing for module 2. Okay, so we're going to skip this poll. One, we don't have time, but 2, we might have some technical difficulties, and I want to jump into these mighty
Court advocates, we say the column part 1, court advocates part 1.
These mighty tools that you have. So in the girls in the resource hub, which is the girls curriculum, there is something called the creation station. And you see, I'm pointing to that here in the screen. This is where the girls have access to tools and apps that turn their ideas into visible work. You know, there are going to be tools for them to create posters and slides and storyboards and videos and voice notes and code and practice all of the things that we're talking about in the module. And that's going to be in the creation station. There will be hyperlinks to these tools that help them complete the artifacts and do the things that they need to do. Obviously, they need to have access to computers or phones or things, internet access, ultimately, devices. But if that needs to be an adjustment, remember, we have those recommendations within the facilitator guides so that you can do the low tech option. Okay. All right. So there's the resource hub and the creation station. And then within your Tech Girls facilitator space right here, there's the module walkthroughs. Again, I showed this to you earlier. So this is where you're going to have those videos and the facilitator guide to help you be the guide, not the guru, for the girls. All right. So I will share this link in the Padlet, because this would be this link in the chat, because this is a good way for us to be able to get your questions and get what you're thinking. What are some wins after today's session? What's a barrier you might still have? What's your next step? So I am going to put this Padlet link for you to be able to fill this out, because we see that, and that's how we're able to help you and get even deeper. So I will drop this link in the chat here, but I want to kick off the next 7 minutes to Shannon and team, so that they could kind of close us out. And I want to remind you, before we conclude, you don't have to be a STEM expert. You are their guide, not the gurus, right? Because your presence is what matters the most, because remember, you're sparking their curiosity, you're creating space for their courage, and you're celebrating every creative step, every step that they make. So you want to help them, the girls, see themselves as the STEM builders and the STEM change makers that they are, because you're their guides, not gurus of any of the subjects that we're covering. So don't forget the resources you have. You're going to have your walkthrough videos, and you're going to have your facilitator guides for modules 1 and 2. And I just want to thank you all for showing up and participating and being flexible. And I'm going to hand it off to Shannon now, but a reminder that we will see you in session 3, where we're going to review modules 3 and 4. All right. Thank y'all. I'm going to pass it all to Shannon.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Singh, and thank you to everybody who was able to make it into a breakout room, and those who were not. Thank you for just sticking with us, and it's going to get, each time we'll just get smoother. I just hope. So there's 2 new links that are in the chat. The first one is to the survey. So we really appreciate your input and the surveys. I think our goal last time from the last session was to get 80% return, and we got like over 65%. So that's pretty amazing. So we're going to shoot for 80% again. Why not? So if 80% of you complete the survey, that would be amazing. Because we really use it. That's how we get our frequently asked questions. And we're going to use what you're giving us to, improve what we're doing and the offering of the curriculum. So please do that, as well as the Padlet. So both of those are really very helpful spaces. You'll be getting a follow-up email, and we'll send links to both of those in the follow-up email as well. And what do I want to tell you? So the next session is going to be November 18th. There'll be a link to sign up for that in the follow-up email, as well in the weekly wrap-ups. There'll be information regarding that. So please, we look forward to seeing you at the next session to go through modules 3 and 4. And then we'll also have learning community spaces coming up in the winter and spring months, which more information on all that will be coming later. This is being recorded, as you all know, so you'll get to get that link as well. And I think that's it for now. And of course, we have 5 minutes. Actually, we have 5 minutes. So if anybody has any questions and you want to unmute yourself, please feel free to go ahead, unmute. If you in a space where you can't unmute, you can always put something in the chat, but you've got 4 minutes with Dr. Singh if you want to ask her any questions. She's
yes,
here.
I am here at your service. So we have a few minutes. Please ask those questions related to the curriculum, anything that we've talked about today. I would like to
Even if something came up in the breakout room that those of you who were able to go to one that you want to share as like a nugget for somebody else, that's always helpful.
and what I can do is while we have this time, I'm going to show you what the actual PDF looks like in real time. Okay, so this is the workbook that the girls will download. So they will have this PDF. So you can see the table of contents for all of the lessons and activities in all of the modules. So they get a nice overview of what the module is about. They get an overview of each lesson. Within each lesson, the activities are broken down and there's space and hyperlinks for them where they click and then they get to complete these things and participate. And you're going to see this structure, this format throughout the whole entire workbook. When we get to, when we actually get to the capstone part, the capstone lessons, what I want to share about your capstone is it's not just we get to it and we're going to do it. You are going to get you're going to be guided through it as well. So when we get to the capstone, this is where I'm trying to get right now. When we get to the capstone, which is here, lesson 5, the first activities are going to have them brainstorming and doing some spark and sketch related to them actually doing the capstone. They are going to explore something related to the capstone. And then in lesson 3, in activity number 3, they actually will plan it out. So their Shark Tank style pitch is module 2. So you can see here, it tells them they could visit the creation space. They are gathering their materials for their prototypes. They're filling in their blueprint. They are doing some peer reflections on what they have already created to make some improvements. They're doing some planning for their Shark Tank stage, and they also get to put it all together using a framework, and this helps them prepare for the actual activity. So there's nothing done blindly. Things are always done in a structure that is going to support them, to help them feel confident, and also support you to help you feel confident too. And so when we look at the facilitator guide, so this is module 2 facilitator guide, that same structure is there for you where you have the actual steps that you walk them through for what they see on their end. All of that's there. And I see a hand. Yeah. Heather?
Hi, Dr. Singh. Thank you. I have a few questions.
Yep.
Because we are applying for a grant right now for this. The pre and post test, is it a pre and post test for each module, or is it a pre and post test for the entirety of the program?
Okay, so those are surveys not related to the actual content, but more so related to the implementation of the program. So we wanted to just get an idea of where the girls are in STEM. Like, have they participated in programs like this before? What are their views of themselves? And then the post would be done after they participate in the program. How have your views changed? So those aren't necessarily tied to you teaching the curriculum. That's more of an overview of their experience pre and post the whole thing.
Okay, so pre and post the entirety of the 4 modules, not just
however you decide to implement it, because some sites may not have the time to do all 4 modules, so they may choose one single module to focus on for this quarter or this summer or you know this you know whatever it is. So we just ask that the modules be done within how they're structured.
Fidelity.
Yeah, but you may do module 4 now because you don't have time to do all the other modules. You see what I'm saying? So modules can be separated as long as you do the lessons in the order that they're done, that they're supposed to. Yep.
And were there some associations that piloted this updated program?
No, this is brand new. So
so brand new.
Yeah, the curriculum itself is brand new, but we used feedback. And Shannon and Taylor, feel free, because I'm just giving my experience.
No, this is spot on. We used feedback from 5 associations that were that had been using Tech Girls in the past, and they
Okay.
really worked with Dr. Rende on like the research-based model, and so we got input that way, but not
Okay, awesome.
specifically on the finished product.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
great. Okay. And is there a time where you feel like organizations who want to do this, we could be ready to roll it out? Are we looking at January? Are we looking at June? Are we looking at September?
You can look at it right now, tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, you can definitely look at it now. You can use it
Yeah.
now, I think, right, Dr. Singh? I think what
It's ready.
our tentative sort of like recommendation is
Mhm.
that once we go through this, you have the learning, you have the sessions,
Mhm.
you have the next session, and then you like, I think in our head, we were thinking people would start it in the January.
Okay.
If you have the opportunity to do it now, please feel
Oh,
free
no,
to do
we
it
do
now.
not have the capacity
Okay.
at this moment in time.
Right. Yeah. We just,
My final,
go ahead.
my final question is, do you have any information, as we're writing a statement of need that really directly corresponds, that maybe research you have done that correctly corresponds to the need for specifically Black and brown girls to be getting this type of program and information and
I-
access?
I think, Shannon, that's where Dr. Rende's research documents and his stuff comes in, because I know that was his focus on the need for girls in that age group, Black and brown girls in particular, and their exposure to STEM fields. So I think that would be a good, good resource for it.
Is that
And I
something?
can, yes, I can find that and
Okay.
share it with you. I think that's what you were gonna ask. Is that right,
Yeah.
Heather? Yeah.
Or post, or if it, I mean, I'm also thinking it might be something good, especially if it includes information that we could be all utilizing in grants.
Absolutely.
Even post in facilitator group, so everybody has access to that.
Yeah, that's a great point. We could put that in the facilitator space for sure.
Great.
Shannon. Yeah.
Thank you guys so
that's
much. I'm
perfect.
really excited about this.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you,
thank you.
Heather,
Good
for all the
questions.
questions. And those are great questions. We could actually put those in the forum too.
I
because
was-
I'm sure, yep, absolutely. Because those are things that I'm sure not only applies to Heather's, Heather's
Exactly.
association, but I think it's very relevant. Yeah.
Definitely. And Liz, I see your question about the link to the first session. I will resend that out with the follow-up email because I can't find it right yet, but I will definitely get that out.
And that was for our first session that we did?
Yes.
So remember,
Mhm.
that's also in the recording for
Oh.
that is in the facilitator space, so you can always go back.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for yes, I have to rethink about how I talk about it. So thank you. That was super helpful.
No worries. And I know we're at time, but if you guys want to hang out for questions, we're happy to answer them.
Thanks for, someone has to be muted and talk, so I did it. So anyway, it's good to see everybody. Thank you for being here, and looking forward to November 18th.
And if you missed the orientation, because I
I
saw
will.
that pop up in the chat, if you missed that first